Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'd like to think a little bit about Shabbat Shuvah, the Shabbat that falls this week. I have a tradition of reading the 8th chapter of Mishnah Yoma, the section of the Mishnah which examines Yom Kippur, each year during the Aseret Yemei Tshuvah, the 10 days of Tshuvah between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. This text captures the essence of the holiday of Yom Kippur, and for me, our tradition as a whole. While the 8th chapter is not long, tonight I'm going to focus on only a few of its salient points, as its powerful words are the perfect preparation for this coming Shabbat, Shabbat Shuvah, the Shabbat of return. The Mishnah begins examining the laws of the holiday, delineating what can, or more truly, what cannot be done on Yom Kippur. Such a listing of exact rules is not surprising, as the rabbis were always interested in detailed and thorough descriptions of religious observances. But within the expected laws, there are some unexpected twists and turns. Suddenly, amid restrictions, the rabbis turned to several exceptions to these rules. For example, children are not required to fast, though the sages suggest they should practice fasting for a few meals or maybe a few hours, a year or two before they become adults with full culpability. Unlike many in the pre-modern world, the rabbis realized that children are not just little adults, but have their own needs and capabilities. This sensitivity to young people and the need to pass the tradition from generation to generation, l'dor vador, pervades rabbinic literature and all of the Jewish tradition up till today. Much more importantly, however, the rabbis teach that in any case where life is threatened, then we may break all the laws of Yom Kippur. Every potential danger overrides the laws of the holiday. The Mishnah explicitly allows for eating even non-kosher food on Yom Kippur when life is at risk. This care for life has become a general principle in the Jewish tradition. Any law can be broken, save incest, murder, and public idolatry, to save a human life, for pikuach nefesh. Indeed, a well-known 19th century rabbi, Israel Salanter, is reputed to have insisted during a cholera epidemic that his congregation eat so as not to reduce their resistance to the contagion. Indeed, this was one of the texts which helped me to move quickly to Zoom on Shabbat. This obligation to respect and protect life is stressed in the Haftarah chosen by the ancient rabbis for Yom Kippur. Isaiah reminds us that fasts, Shabbatot, and holidays are only meaningful if they lead to activism to protect society's disadvantaged. The prophet teaches that Yom Kippur is meaningless unless it leads to feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, housing the homeless. These challenges are still endemic. We have lots of work to do if we want our fasts to be meaningful. The Mishnah finally turns to repentance and forgiveness. Here too, the rabbi's teaching is somewhat unexpected and revolutionary. Sins against humanity, the Mishnah teaches, require much more work than sins against the divine. Tshuva for sins against God is mostly internal, but repentance, tshuva for sins against our fellows, requires hard work. As the Mishnah says, for transgressions between a human and God, Yom Kippur effects atonement. But for transgressions between a human and their fellow, Yom Kippur does not affect atonement until the person has pacified their fellow. Here the rabbis stress that Yom Kippur is about rebuilding a sense of community and connection, not allowing anger or hard feelings to persist into the new year. If we repair our relationships with our friends, family, and community and world, we also repair our relationship with God. The rabbis end Mishnah Yoma with words of hope. As it says, Rabbi Akiva said, "Happy are you, Israel! Who is it before whom you become pure? And who is it that purifies you? Your parent who is in heaven, as it is said, and I will sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean." And it further says, O hope, mikveh of Israel is the eternal one. Just as a mikveh purifies, so too does the Holy One purify Israel. On behalf of Shelley and myself, I want to wish all of us a Gemar Chatimat Tovah. May we all be sealed through our hard work of tshuva as we repair our relationships with our friends, family, community, and God for a blessing in the book of life. Shana Tovah.